I know it's fashionable now to say Lincoln only did a little bit to end slavery, but I think, you know, the buck stops with the president. He signed on the dotted line. He twisted arms in Congress to get the 13th Amendment, and I wanted to put that back into perspective. You have to start at the beginning. When Lincoln is a young Southern rural kid, goes down the Mississippi to sell some goods on a flatboat and sees a slave market and sees a slave auction, and until then has really had no experience with slavery. How does it impact him? And how does he change as the years go on? You know, the best leaders are those who we say today are flip-floppers. But it's a good thing if people grow. Lincoln was always against slavery. He always disliked it. He once said, "I did not remember when I did not feel that way." But he always recognized that while he opposed extending slavery into the new territories west of the Mississippi, nobody had the power to end slavery where it existed. It was cemented in the Constitution. And what he hoped to do was, by containing it, not allowing it to spread, that it would die a natural death. And that's where he left it until he assumed the presidency. When Lincoln was a politician in Illinois, he didn't know black people. When he got to Washington, he meets Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass. And I think he understands, simply from the broadening of his own personal experience and his acquaintanceships, that there's another world out there that's untapped, that there really is possibility not only for himself to change, but that there is a group of people there who's been constrained from contributing to society the way they were capable. And that is an enormous change that he comes to grips with. When the war went badly for the Union, that's when he decided that he could finally unite his long-standing passion for freedom and his legal ability to do something. And what he did is he crafted an executive order as Commander-in-Chief of the Army to confiscate property, quote unquote, in this case human property, as punishment for the South for its rebelliousness. We all know it wasn't enough, but it really began the process of ending slavery. You know, Lincoln was a practical politician. Had he been an abolitionist, had he been so inclined, and there's no evidence that he was so inclined, he would have been unelectable. He would have been marginalized. The abolitionists were in the vanguard. They were the radicals that had to start the process. Like the gay rights movement needed its firebrands to start a movement toward marriage equality that has been consecrated by legislators who wouldn't have dreamed of it 20 years ago. It's a process. Lincoln, most of all, loved the American Union and loved the concept of majority rule. He thought that that was an example that the world could follow, that it would make America a shining beacon for the world. So when he's elected and states in the South say, "We don't accept the majority rule, we're leaving," he thought that was worth fighting to block. Or as he put it, states can't divorce each other. It was that simple. Eventually, he believed himself almost to be an instrument of God in setting people free. He became increasingly religious and had some mystical feeling that God had instructed him to do this. With hundreds of thousands of people dying for a cause, he wanted to make sure not only that the country was saved, but as he put it, was worth saving. I'm Harold Holzer. Click here and subscribe to Thinker.